Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 353. I kicked off with c4, the English opening, and my opponent played the very rare move d5, just directly saying, I don't want to play the English. So I could just transpose into a queen's pawn opening with d4, and this is just an ordinary queen's gambit declined after that, and you see that's the most popular move in the database here. But if you're playing the English, probably want to take this pawn. I mean, this gives you the best advantage from this point, because black has to waste a tempo recapturing it. Actually, if black wants to make a game of this, he might want to try the move knight f6 and recapture with the knight. And this could possibly turn into a gambit if white tries to hold on to the pawn, but it looks like black has compensation. So, but the direct queen takes, knight c3, and queen back leaves white with a pretty comfortable game. Let's see, was there a better place for the queen? Queen could go to d6 or a5. Just trying to stay active. Those are suggestions from the chess engine. Maybe a little better than going all the way back to d8. But anyway, queen d8 was played. And I played d4, the most natural move here. Putting a pawn in the center. He goes knight f6. And I go knight f3. It looks like e4 could have been played here. But, well, we'll get to a point where I should play e4 in a second. He plays bishop g4. And right here I play the move e3, and we're out of the opening book. So we'll just put on the tab. Put on the notation tab. So right here, after this move, e3 is kind of a routine move, and I should have thought a little bit more. Knight e5 is an interesting way to play, you know, just putting pressure on that bishop. And these pawns are all here defending my back rank, so the bishop has to move after that. And then maybe I could even expand with f3 and e4, get a big center that way. That's one idea. Another idea is queen to b3, just coming out here and putting pressure on his undefended b pawn. It's a move I played later. And if I am going to move the e pawn, let's erase these arrows. I really should just move it all the way to e4. I was suffering from some misunderstanding during the game. I thought if I played e4 he could take it. I was thinking my knight was pinned for some reason. This knight is pinned, but not this one. So e4, if I was going to move the e-pawn, I should probably play e4. And that's a very logical way to play too, if you don't spot these other ideas, the queen b3 or knight e5. So e3, well, it doesn't give up my advantage, but there was just no reason not to play e4, basically. So he goes e6. Bishop e2, we get some normal development. He decides to trade. And that does open this line for the bishop onto b7. So he plays c6 to block it. Castle. And bishop b4. And that's a slight mistake. And I actually spotted this one. Queen b3 puts pressure on the bishop and forces this exchange, which is favorable. But after bishop takes c3, I have an even better move than recapturing, which is he's opened up this line to the b-pawn, and there's a loose rook in the corner. He hasn't developed his knight. So this is where, you know, my lead in development caused by his early play, where he moved the queen out to take the pawn and move back. This is where the lead in development really would pay off in a big way. So I could probably just win the game by taking here. He has no good way to defend it. He has to move the knight, and then I can grab the bishop. So I've picked up another pawn, and his structure is kind of a mess, and he still hasn't castled. So that would be good. I took back with the bishop. This still keeps probably a winning edge. So nothing to be ashamed of there, but not the best move. Queen c7, and I play bishop a3. My idea was to, the engine liked that one. My idea was to just stop him from castling. He's stuck in the center, and maybe I can exploit that in some way. I still don't have a material edge. My only advantage here is my advantage in development. Better king safety, more pieces out. And also I've gained the bishop pair. I have the pair of bishops and he doesn't. So that's a material edge, the bishop pair, but not a huge one. Okay, so he develops logically, knight b d7. Maybe even castling queenside is an option here. I go rook a b1. So that clamps down on that queenside castling idea. He plays b6. And now I was starting to struggle a little bit here, trying to find a plan, a way to move forward, which is often difficult. Maybe just What is the engine suggesting? Nothing particularly helpful. H3, rook fd1, little improving moves. Queen b4. I tried queen c4, maybe putting pressure on the c pawn. So still keeping an edge. Rook c8, he defends. And now he's not castling to either side. This rook is moved, and they can't castle king side. So he's going to be stuck in the center for a while, and it makes sense to open up the center. So I push on with e4. It's one of the top 3 choices there was. Yeah, it's on the list. Just trying to open some lines towards his king while it's stuck in the center. I think it's a very logical way to play. He responds with e5. And now I wasn't sure what to play here. The engine, the engine comes up with this crazy idea, bishop d1. What's bishop d1 about? Well, the first thing you notice is if it leaves this pawn hanging, but the main idea of bishop d1 is to reposition the bishop here and set up a powerful battery along that diagonal, not correctly drawn, along this diagonal. And for example, knight takes, bishop b3, and how does he defend? Knight to d6, and bishop takes d6, just removing that guy. Queen takes d6, and queen takes f7 check. Yeah, so that would be pretty devastating. So after bishop d1, he can't really afford to take the pawn, which I didn't realize. Well, I didn't even think of this move at all. That's a pretty clever idea, just the idea of repositioning the bishop like this and giving up the pawn. Interesting way to play. After bishop d1, the best way to play is c5 and f4. Okay, just going all out for the attack. Pretty interesting. Okay, I didn't spot that idea. I played rook fe1. My idea was if there's an exchange here, I wanted to have some pressure on the e-file and also some support for my e-pawn, so this bishop is free to move now. He went h5, and I realized if I push on here, he can exchange and maybe force a trade here and leaves this c-pawn weak behind my queen. So I tried repositioning my queen. Rook e to d1 is a suggestion of the chess engine, putting the rook over here. Okay, I went queen to d3, still keeping an edge. Rook to h6. Interesting way to activate his rook. So now he's not castling either side. He's definitely staying in the center. And rook b to c1. I played this to support this pawn and try and open up the c-file. So my idea is to play to play d5 here, and after he takes, to not lose this c-pawn. So he went rook g6. Okay, and I didn't see any immediate threat here, so I just went on with my plan of d5. Okay, keeping an edge still. He played c5 though, and now that's a good move. But it's something I didn't really anticipate, and now the lines are not getting open, so we're in for another period of maneuvering. I tried putting my rook on the d-file. He moved his king a little bit out of the center, a little safer position there, and the bishop to c1. I tried to reroute my bishops over here. Queen d6, and now h4. These are all okay moves. c4 hitting my queen. Queen drops back to e2. Knight to g4, trying to activate his knight. And my idea was to play bishop g5 and just win a pawn over here. So I played bishop g5, and he played knight to c5. And now I started to worry because I realized if I take... Well, I went ahead and took. He took back. It was right here I started to worry. If I take back with the queen, he has the move f6, trapping my bishop. But if you'll see, the engine says I should take that pawn because what I didn't spot is that I'm hitting his rook. He has no time to trap my bishop or take advantage of my pinned bishop. So he moves his queen to d7 to defend his rook, and then I can just trade out, and then I'm up a pawn. So anyway, that would have been good for me. That would have been the way to play it. And it's funny, it's the move I intended to play. I just missed the fact that the rook was loose here. If we back up one move, that rook was not loose until he moved his knight. So maybe he should play something other than knight c5. Knight d to f6. Yeah, coming around this way is his suggestion. And then that would defend his knight here. Okay, So the game went knight c5, bishop g4, hg4, and then I didn't take. So I played f3 to try and regather the pawn. And that was sort of the final straw in my position. I played a number of slightly less than most accurate moves, and now the advantage is starting to shift towards black. And we get into this kind of maneuvering game. He gets a good position for his knight here. And has a strong pawn. Now I'm struggling to try and figure out how to round up that pawn. And also I needed to make room for my bishop. My bishop was nearly trapped here. I needed to make sure this square was free. And he h5 here. Okay, I missed this h5 idea. I can play it right here. I play a similar move later in the game. Yeah, he's trapped his rook right here. Okay, after f4, e takes f4. What he had something there too. Okay, so we've reached that stage of the game where it's too complicated for both of us. Rook to h8 is a winning move here, huh? Why is this winning? Rook to h8 or rook to g4? Maybe he just has too much pressure on the... I can't defend the h-pawn, I guess. So rook to h8 and h5. He takes... Oh, rook g to h6. And how about if I take here, trying to open up this line? Rook takes h5 and it's a mate. Yeah, this pawn here and the power of the rooks on the h-file, and I had no good way to defend that pawn. So I was really in big trouble here. And fortunately, I just did this routine exchange. And after these exchanges, I'm out of trouble, and we're just in this position where black is a little bit better. About even. Okay, so we get into this double rook endgame. But I was still struggling here. I'm still trying to round up this pawn, which because there's always these mating threats. But at least I've defended the h-pawn, so it's now no longer so easy for black to penetrate into my position. So once again, we're in for a period of maneuvering. I'm trying to figure out how to arrange my forces to round up the pawn. And this was the plan I came up with, getting my king over here and the rook to coordinate. And it looks like this was a good plan. So the computer's getting a little more optimistic. A4 is a move I need to play right here. So I need to, I guess, hold this position rather than trying to continue on and win this pawn. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to play here, and I realized he could just trade and grab the e-pawn. So I played rook d4 to defend my e-pawn, and also to put pressure on the c-pawn here. But this didn't quite work out. Yeah, it gave up a lot of advantage. So what's my way to play here is really a4. Not worry about rounding up this pawn right away, just holding things steady for the moment and trying to bust up his queenside. How about if he just defends here? I would take, he takes, and then I can go after his queenside here. I've opened up a line. This is also a weak pawn. I can attack, and I can also bring my rook in. So that's the way to play a4 here. I played rook d4 instead. And now, after rook e5, and yeah, I continue to go after the pawn. So after, I can still play a4 in this position. I'm just missing this idea. And after this exchange, I thought I was rounding up the pawn. But this left me in an awkward spot. E takes f5. I really should take it. I realized at this point that he has some breakthrough ideas here. He can take. And now I'm potentially in trouble over here. I guess king f4, I start running to this side. Thought he could play b4 right away. Yeah, that wins for black. So I can't be so casual. Can I play? Yeah, no, this is winning for black. Okay, the chess engine just took a while to figure it out. Sometimes I have trouble with these endgames. So I can't take his rook. What could I play here? I could try king f4, but then he can take my rook. He just has this winning advantage on the queen side here, although the engine thinks I can actually hold this one. Say, oh, it's his turn, b4. He just goes for the passed pawn. I go king e3. Maybe I'm just in time to hold it up. Well, I guess I have 8 breakthrough ideas too. So I have 2 pawns that can go through, and he has 1 pawn that can't stop both of them. Basically, you sacrifice 1 pawn to get the other through. And so his king needs to stay in the neighborhood of this area of the board to stop my pawns from queening, and my king needs to stay in this area of the board to stop his pawns from queening. So it's starting to give a win for white there. I think if with proper play, this should probably be a draw. So king e7, and this stays a draw. Okay, but it requires very precise play. If I don't play exactly the right moves, black is winning. A very double-edged position. Anyway, yeah, I didn't think about that. Well, I thought about it. I just thought it was winning. So after f5, winning for black, I went king f3, trying to hold on to things. But now this is winning for black, it seems. F takes e4. Rook takes e4. And once again, we're going to get into a pawn endgame. Cancel. He didn't take there. What did he play? Oh, he played rook takes d5. Kept the rooks on. I was thinking maybe I had a little more advantage this way. If he takes my rook, it brings my king forward. And I was feeling a little better about my chances there to hold. And I didn't see any winning chances anymore. So I'm just trying for the draw. Rook takes d5. I played rook to e3. Yeah, I didn't want his rook coming here, but he gets active with his rook this way. And it looks like I can't stop it. I do grab this pawn and try and get some counterplay. But as we go forward, I thought maybe my rook here would still help me stop these pawns. He starts pushing. I push and he pushes. And my idea was to drop my rook back at the last minute to stop these pawns. But now he can start going after my pawns. And I can't save my pawns. So they disappear here. And I could have tried pushing on. Still winning for black, but it would have been a better try than taking. Because after taking, he takes. And what I missed was his rook is coming right back to skewer my king and pick up this pawn. So I thought I was rounding up one of his pawns, and my king would get over here and I'd still have drawing chances. But he just plays rook h3. And that's a win for black. So I resigned at that point. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting game. Certainly some tactical misses there in the middle game, but an interesting end game, and some ideas on how to exploit the opening misplay by my opponent. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.